Jane Bennett's Vibrant Matter, A Political Ecology of Things is one of the most influential works in contemporary political theory, philosophy, and environmental thought. Published in 2010, it marks a decisive contribution to the field of new materialism, a movement that challenges the traditional human-centered view of the world and insists on the vitality and agency of non-human matter. Bennett, a professor of political science at Johns Hopkins University, uses this book to propose a new way of understanding politics, ethics, and ecology, one that recognizes the active participation of things, materials, and forces in shaping the world. Outro 1. Central thesis: the vitality of matter. At the heart of Vibrant Matter lies the idea that matter is not passive or inert, but vibrant, alive with energies, capacities, and agencies. Bennett argues that everything in the material world possesses a degree of vitality, from trash and electricity to worms and metals. This challenges the classical Cartesian dualism between mind and matter, human and non-human, subject and object. For Bennett, things are not simply acted upon by humans. They act and influence events themselves. She calls this thing power, a term that captures the idea that non-human entities have an ability to affect and produce effects in the world. This recognition of material agency leads Bennett to call for a rethinking of political ecology. Instead of focusing exclusively on human responsibility or domination, she invites us to imagine a politics of things, where humans are seen as part of a larger web of active materials. The ethical and political task becomes one of cultivating sensitivity to the vitality of non-human forces and acknowledging our entanglement with them. 2. Theoretical context. From materialism to vital materialism. Bennett's philosophy draws inspiration from a variety of thinkers, including Baruch Spinoza, Friedrich Nietzsche, Gilles Deleuze, and Bruno Latour. From Spinoza, she borrows the idea that all things are part of a single substance imbued with conatus, the striving to persist and express power. From Deleuze and Guattari, she adopts the concept of assemblages, heterogeneous constellations of human and non-human elements that collectively produce effects. And from Latour, she takes the notion of actants, which are entities, human or otherwise, that exert influence in networks of relations. Her vital materialism thus departs from traditional Marxist or historical materialism, which often treats matter as passive and determined by human labor or social relations. Instead, Bennett's materialism emphasizes the self-organizing, affective, and unpredictable character of matter itself. This shift is not merely philosophical, it is profoundly political, as it calls for new ways of living, governing, and caring for a world that is vibrant and alive. 3. Chapter overview and key examples. Bennett structures Vibrant Matter around a series of vivid case studies that make her theoretical claims tangible. In the opening chapter, she describes a moment of wonder when encountering a pile of debris, glimmering metal, dead rat, bottle cap, and stick on the street. Rather than dismissing it as lifeless waste, she perceives in it a vitality, a buzzing assemblage of forces. This materialist sensibility becomes the foundation of her project, learning to see matter as animated and lively. In later chapters, Bennett explores examples like the power grid, food chains, and even the political effects of non-human forces. She discusses how blackouts are not just technological failures, but events in which metals, wires, and energy systems reveal their own agency. Similarly, in her analysis of the 2003 North American blackout, she illustrates how material processes and human actions are inseparable. One of her most striking examples is the case of the Baltimore trash stream, where discarded objects, plastic bottles, cigarette butts, and pollutants demonstrate an ecological agency that exceeds human intention. Trash is not dead matter. It moves, decays, releases toxins, and shapes ecosystems. Bennett suggests that if we recognize the vitality of such matter, we might develop a deeper ecological awareness and a more ethical relationship to consumption and waste. 4. Ethics of vital materialism. Bennett's ethics are grounded in a sense of wonder and humility. She argues that by recognizing the vibrancy of matter, humans might cultivate a less anthropocentric and more responsive attitude toward the world. This is not a sentimental environmentalism, but a philosophical reorientation, an effort to become more open to the non-human forces operating around and within us. Such an ethical stance does not erase human agency, but decenters it. In her words, A vital materialist theory of politics will seek to enhance the perceptibility of other bodies and forces. By acknowledging the participation of non-human entities in political life, we might make better decisions about energy use, ecological preservation, and social justice. Bennett even suggests that seeing the world as vibrant could lead to a more democratic distribution of agency, one that includes things as participants in the collective. 5 political implications. A politics of things. In contrast to traditional political theory, which focuses on human actors, institutions, and rational deliberation, Bennett calls for a political ecology of things. This form of politics recognizes the power of material forces, both enabling and limiting human actions. For instance, the spread of pollution or the flow of electricity cannot be fully controlled by human will. They are outcomes of complex assemblages of matter, energy, and intention. Bennett also reflects on modern consumerism and capitalism, noting how the commodification of objects conceals their vitality. When we see matter as dead, we justify exploitation and waste. But if we recognize that things are alive in their own way, then our political economy must change to accommodate this liveliness. Environmental crises like climate change, pollution, and species extinction, she argues, are symptoms of our failure to recognize matter's agency. Thus, a politics of things demands not only new policies, but also new sensibilities, a collective capacity to attend to non-human actors. Bennett does not suggest giving legal rights to objects, but she does advocate for modes of governance and responsibility that take their vitality seriously. Number 6. Relation to ecological thought and environmental humanities. Vibrant Matter is also a cornerstone text in the field of the environmental humanities. Bennett's work resonates with the ideas of thinkers like Donna Haraway, Timothy Morton, and Stacey Alamo, who all emphasize the entanglement of human and non-human life. Her notion of vibrant matter complements Morton's hyper-objects and Haraway's companion species by highlighting the distributed agency of material systems. In ecological terms, Bennett's approach challenges the notion that nature is separate from society. Instead, she posits a continuum of vitality across all matter, organic and inorganic, human and non-human. This ontological flattening dissolves hierarchies and situates humans within, rather than above, ecological networks. The result is a more integrated post-humanist environmental ethic. 7. Critiques and limitations. Despite its profound influence, Vibrant Matter has faced several critiques. Some scholars argue that Bennett's emphasis on non-human agency risks minimizing issues of social power, inequality, and responsibility. By flattening the distinction between human and non-human actors, critics like Timothy Luke and Andrew Dobson contend that her theory might obscure the structural dimensions of capitalism and environmental injustice. Others have pointed out that while her vital materialism is inspiring, it can lead to a kind of aesthetic appreciation of matter without concrete political strategies. Bennett acknowledges this tension, admitting that her aim is not to offer policy solutions, but to foster a new sensibility, a shift in perception that might indirectly transform politics. Nevertheless, her work remains crucial precisely because it disrupts conventional modes of thought. By questioning the metaphysical assumptions that underlie Western modernity, Vibrant Matter opens space for reimagining both ethics and politics in an age of ecological crisis. 8. Legacy and influence. Since its publication, Vibrant Matter has become a foundational text for disciplines as diverse as political theory, philosophy, anthropology, art, and environmental studies. It has inspired movements such as New Materialism, Posthumanism, and Object-Oriented Ontology, including thinkers like Karen Barad, Manuel de Landa, and Jane Bennett's own later works. In contemporary debates on climate change and sustainability, Bennett's concept of vibrant matter encourages a deeper ecological literacy, one that sees energy grids, rivers, and even plastics as active participants in planetary processes. Artists and architects have also drawn on her ideas to explore the liveliness of materials in creative practice. Matter 9, Conclusion. Toward a more vibrant politics. Jane Bennett's Vibrant Matter invites readers to rethink the relationship between humans and the material world. Her philosophy does not anthropomorphize things or romanticize nature. Rather, it reveals the subtle agencies that animate the world around us. By recognizing the vibrancy of matter, she proposes an ethics of attention and a politics of coexistence, one in which humans act as co-participants in a shared material vitality. In an age of ecological degradation and technological complexity, Bennett's insights are especially urgent. They call us to see the world not as a resource to be managed, but as a living field of forces where agency is distributed across humans, animals, machines, and elements. The task of politics, then, is to cultivate responsiveness to this vibrancy, to act within rather than above the lively world we inhabit.